Chapter 129 to 134. In any case, Hinata is frozen in place, still mid-thrust. She can't do anything else, but she can move her eyes and talk, which is exactly what she's doing. Her cold, calculating eyes are moving around, trying to gauge her situation as she talks to me, attempting to dig for information. Hinata, so, you said your name is Rimuru? I don't suppose you have any relation to that gathering of monsters in the Jura forest, would you? Rimuru, oh, you've heard of us? Hinata, the church's information gathering system is quite dynamic. I guess Yom and his movements as a champion who took down the Orc Lord are going well. Especially if it means that information about Avalon is spreading. Rimuru, ooh. So? Would you like to visit? I cheerfully ask her. Hinata, unfortunately, my current position isn't exactly the best situation to ask someone to do something. Would you mind unrestraining me first? Hinata casually asks while staring at me with her sharp eyes, to which I scratch the back of my head. Rimuru, unfortunately, I would like to talk to you about something important. I realize kidnapping you wasn't the best way to do it, but I wanted to get it over with quick. You don't exactly trust me, which is understandable, but I would like to keep my head on my shoulders, so, no, I won't let you go. Hinata closes her eyes and sighs. Hinata, well, at least I asked. No matter, I don't need your permission anyway. With those ominous words, holy energy flares out from Hinata, eroding the magicules, preventing her body from movement. The rune on her back fizzles out of existence, and with speeds that greatly exceed the velocity she used during our short battle, her rapier swings right towards my neck. My eyes widen as I watch the blade slice the air as it moves. Honestly, it's quite beautiful. Hinata's swordsmanship is better than even Hakuru's. I move my body to avoid her attack. I don't think my barrier can stop that sword, especially when it's coated in holy energy, the anti-magicule juice. Unfortunately, since I wasn't expecting her to break out from my rune so quickly, I wasn't able to avoid her attack completely. Shing! An arm goes flying into the air. My arm. I look down to my left shoulder to find my arm severed at the upper arm. Instead of bones, flesh, muscle, and blood, all you can see is the white you would see from my slime body. That's to be expected since I'm not human. Of course, Hinata already knew I wasn't human. My universal shapeshift skill merely lets me mimic the shape and form of the creatures I eat and disguise the outer layer with colors. Features unique to the race I mimic would reflect over to my body. An example would be smell. My slime form can't really smell things, but if I mimic a human or even a wolf, I can smell things. Even so, things considered unnecessary will be discarded and won't follow through with my transformation. An example would be blood, bones, and other vital organs like the brain and heart. Hence why I'm not panicking about seeing my arm make a beautiful parabola through the air before hitting the ground a dozen meters away or so. Hinata backs off while raising her rapier, ready to defend and counterattack in case I pursue. I don't, and I just stand there with an amused smile still on my face. Hinata, you barely flinched. I must say, I praise your ability to smile even with a severed arm. She must not know exactly what race I am. If she did, she would know that losing an arm isn't all that big of a deal. Hell, I could lose my head and I would still be completely fine. Rimuru, haha. No, that's just the cancel pain skill doing its job. If I didn't have it, I would probably be rolling on the floor right now. I mean, I've never dealt with pain larger than an ant biting my dick back in my old world, so if my arm got cut off, there's no way I could remain calm without the cancel pain skill. Spark. I look over towards the source of the spark. *VM. However, a bright orange beam of energy comes flying past my face, heading straight towards Hinata. She lowers her body in an attempt to evade the blow, but Mikoto's railgun is an attack specializing in its speed and piercing power. Unless Hinata anticipated the attack beforehand, which she didn't, there's little hope to dodge it regardless of how fast you are. And would you guess it, Hinata gets struck by it head-on. Luckily for her, she was able to raise her weapon just in time to alter its course and avoid a fatal blow. Hinata was nonetheless pushed back. She fell to her knees using her weapon as a support as the blade and the armor around her waist emit smoke from the heat of Mikoto's attack. Looking back to the source of the energy beam, I see Tsundere Pikachu glaring at Hinata with frozen cold eyes I never thought I would see from her. Mikoto, don't you dare do that again. With an icy voice that matches the look in her eyes, she speaks out to Hinata. Sparks of electricity still menacingly dance across her arm and hair. Rimuru Mikoto. I never thought you cared about me this much. I'm genuinely surprised at her actions. I'm quite happy. Losing an arm is worth it. Immediately after I spoke those words, Mikoto snaps her head towards me, the blush flaring on her cheeks instantly melting any of the coldness she held before. Mikoto, yeah? And no. It's just that, you know. She shyly looks down as she coyly points her fingers together. So cute. As for Ilya and Ranga, they never panicked even once since the former knew exactly what I'm capable of and the latter just had that much blind faith in me. I'm flattered, honestly. Mikoto, wait, now's not the time for that. Mikoto runs up to me and grabs what's remaining my left arm, worry clouding her face. She lifts up my ripped and tattered sleeve and concernedly inspected the wound. Rimuru, not to worry, 'tis but a scratch. I say with a calm smile in an attempt to pacify her. I move my magicules to my arm and overpower the lingering holy energy with it, causing my infinite regeneration skill to finally work again, regrowing my arm in barely a second. Holy energy is what the church uses to combat monsters and demons since it has an anti-magicule property. When Hinata cut my arm off, some holy energy remained, hindering my recovery. If not for that, my arm would have recovered naturally. Although holy energy is a counter to magicules, you can overwhelm it and wash it off. Kind of like how in small quantities, water can't put out a large fire, but with enough water, that story changes. Hinata is still kneeling on the ground leaning against her rapier as support with one hand while the other holds her wounded waist. She looks at my newly recovered arm without a hint of surprise on her face, her impassive eyes glance at my arm before shifting to my face. Hinata, a regeneration skill? And quite a powerful one if your arm recovered that quickly. Rimuru, I know, right? Ultra-speed regeneration was a skill that took a lot of work to acquire. I'd say it's worth it. That's a fucking lie. I have infinite regeneration, which is already many times better than ultra-speed regeneration. Not to mention that I got that skill on my first day after being reincarnated due to my rather smooth evolution into an origin slime. Hinata, I would assume so, especially if it could regrow your arm so quickly. Hinata seems a bit more talkative than usual. I know why now. She's buying time. The hand that's holding her waist is softly glowing with holy energy, subtly healing her injury. If not for my astounding genius, I would have missed it. Luckily, she's quite resistant to magicules since she's bathed in the holy juice, so Mikoto's railgun didn't hurt her as much. Unfortunately, Mikoto is an Esper originally and is simply using magicules to augment her attacks, so she still dealt heavy damage, which is why Hinata can't move carelessly. Which reminds me, I have to remedy this situation. How do I do that? Oh, I know. I can use Shizue's anti-magic mask. My genius, it generates gravity. Rimuru, right, I think I should start explaining. I mutter as I take out Shizue's mask from my stomach. Hinata quickly recognizes the mask. Hinata, where did you get that mask? With eyes and a voice that struck a chill down my back, she asks me with coldness on a different level than before. Rimuru, whoa, calm your tatas. Shizue gave this to me, I didn't steal this from her or anything of the sort. Hinata's eyes widen, some of the coldness disappearing as shock settles in. I create a simple wooden chair and place it down in front of me. I jump up and turn back into my slime form as Mikoto quickly catches me and sits down on the wooden chair, placing me on her lap. I trained her well. Hinata, a slime. Rimuru, yeah, I get that a lot. Listen, we need to talk. Hinata stares straight into my eyes with her own sharp, calculating ones. She closes her eyes and sighs before standing up slowly. She shifts her right foot on the ground. Thinking that she's getting ready for yet another attack, I prepare to transform back into my human form and push Mikoto out of the way, but instead, a small pillar of the earth rises from out of the ground behind her. She sits on it. It turns out it was a fucking makeshift stool. Hinata, if you're lying, I'll kill you. Yeah, figured as much. Ahem. And so I proceeded to explain the course of events that led to me getting the mask. Shizue and 3 other adventurers she met on the way arrived at my village. Unfortunately, she was already close to death at that time due to the greater spirit Ifrit slipping from her control. Rimuru, well, to be exact, she wouldn't have died physically. Ifrit was escaping her control and would have taken over her body and probably returned to its true master, Demon Lord Leon. She would no longer be Shizue at that point, and that counts as a death in my books, so. Hinata and Mikoto nod in understanding. I continued to tell the story of Shizue's last days. I told Shizue about her condition, and after realizing that she didn't have as long as she'd liked, she decided to spend the rest of her short time in my village. I did everything I could to make her happy, from giving her all kinds of modern luxuries like food to playing games, reading manga, JoJo specifically, and just sitting down and talking with smiles on all of our faces. Unfortunately, the day had to end, and just as Shizue was about to fall asleep. "Rimuru." She asked me to consume her body. I say with a hoarse voice. A tear rolls down Mikoto's cheek. She always regretted not being there at that time. "Rimuru, that human form you saw previously was the result of me mimicking a human using Shizue's body as a base. You didn't realize it because I was concealing my identity. Granted, it's a younger, genderless version though." I finish speaking and we all just sit there in silence. Mikoto brings my slime body up and begins hugging it, and Hinata is just closing her eyes, digesting the information I just gave her. Regardless of how cold she is, Hinata considered Shizue as the only person who showed her kindness before she rose to fame as one of the 10 great saints of the luminous faith. Likewise, Shizue was someone Hinata cared for, regardless of how the latter denied it. At least, that was how the light novel depicted their relationship. Hinata opens her eyes while taking a deep breath. Looking into them, I smile a little. Seeing the mournful emotions passing through her eyes just confirms it. Snore. Due to the silence, that snore was heard by all of us. Turning to my right, I look at the source of it. Ranga. He's lying on the ground with closed eyes fast asleep, his stomach rising and falling slowly. Leaning against his stomach, sitting on the ground, is Ilya, who is also asleep, breathing calmly as she unconsciously snuggles into Ranga's fur. Mikoto chuckles to herself as I turn to Hinata. "Rimuru, it's been a long day. Can we continue tomorrow?" Hinata nods her head and stands up, already completely healed. If not for her damaged armor, I wouldn't think she was ever hurt in any way. I open a portal leading to reality next to her and she walks through it. I close the portal before looking back at the wolf and the loli. Now, how should I move them? It's a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. On days like these, nothing much is happening. I mean, there aren't any kids around that should be burning in hell, so. In any case, due to the long day we had, Ilya fell asleep on Ranga. Ranga wouldn't dare to disturb her, so he also fell asleep. I mean, we left Blumund, traveled to Ramorous Labyrinth, summoned a demon for her, traveled to Rubrios, met Hinata, fought Hinata, and used Talk no Jutsu to calm her down. All in one day. I don't get how her body can grow tired since she's basically a spiritual being, but I don't really care enough to find out. Ilya is cute when she sleeps, and that's all that matters. Did I also mention that Ranga is cute when he sleeps? He tends to dream and sleep talk a bit, although since he isn't using thought communication, it's mostly coming out as little woofs and barks. Although he mentions my name now and again. It always comes out as Wimyu since he can't pronounce it properly. Sounds like a fucking furry, but when he does it it's cute, so I forgive him easily. And when Ilya is sleeping while leaning against Ranga, it would have been a fucking sin if I disturbed their sleep. So I didn't touch them and just left them to sleep in the mirror dimension. Don't get me wrong, I didn't just leave them there. I joined them. Mikoto did too. I sat to Ilya's left and Mikoto sat to her right, both of us leaning against Ranga's fluffy stomach. As I draped a comfortable blanket over all three of us, a thought entered my head. Rimuru, hey, does this make us seem like a family? I mean, the age gap between Ilya and us is a glaring issue, but... Mikoto ***, I'm too tired to retort. She just turned her around, facing her back towards me as she tugs the blanket over her shoulders. I didn't miss her ears reddening though. Anyways, that was last night. It is now morning, and I want to talk to Hinata about stuff. Rimuru, so there's that. I'm going to go and get Hinata now, okay? I walk towards a clearing a few meters away as I wave over my shoulder towards Ranga, Ilya, and Mikoto, who are still lazily eating breakfast. They slowly slide the breakfast I made into their mouths as they try to fight off the sleepiness still plaguing their minds and bodies. I just smile at them. It's not a kind smile, it's a smug smile. Rimuru, pathetic. Sleep is for the weak. Megumin would be proud of such a smile. Ilya, Oniai-chan, you're just jealous that you can't actually sleep. Rimuru, damn straight I am. I miss the feeling of sleep. I can shut down in a way that simulates sleep, but it's not actually sleeping. I miss that feeling. Damn it. I open a small portal in front of me before sticking my hand into it. It swallows my arm up to my shoulder as I blindly fumble around, looking for a familiar touch. My hand grabs onto a familiar piece of cloth. I pull my arm out of the portal as it expands. Exiting the enlarged net portal is my arm, followed by my hand, which is currently grabbing onto the collar of a familiar calculative woman. Shing. My arm goes flying into the air. Rimuru, damn it, not again. Hinata, don't touch me so suddenly. Hinata says as she sheathes her rapier. I extend my intact arm into the air. Threads fly out from my fingertips and wrap around my arm that is once again creating a beautiful parabola. I pull the threads and my other arm falls neatly into my open hand. Man, I should probably stop limiting my capabilities with the limiter ring. It's making it seem like it's easy to get cheap shots like this off me. Meh, I'll do it later. Placing my severed arm back into place, I turn around and walk back to the group of 3 sleepyheads. Rimuru, care to join us for breakfast? Hinata, no, I've already eaten. Rimuru, come on, don't say that. I'm sure you would find it extremely to your liking. Getting curious, she looks over to the small table surrounded by 2 girls and a wolf, and her eyes widen at what she sees. Food from Earth. Specifically, it's omuris. A Japanese staple food. Rimuru, oh, I forgot to mention. I used to be a human from Earth. I say while pointing to myself. Hinata stares at me as shock passes through her eyes. Hinata, wait, used to? Hinata asks questionably. She's obviously heard of people transmigrating from Earth into this world, but I'm obviously not human and slimes don't exist on Earth. Rimuru, yeah. I got stabbed, and when I woke up again, I was in a cave as a weak little slime. That's a lie, I wasn't weak by any means. As for being stabbed, I just gave her Satoru Mikami story. In any case, nothing exciting happened after this. After realizing the food on the table is something that she hasn't eaten in years, she readily agreed to have some, and she savored every moment of it. Her cold, calculating eyes warmed up during the meal. Just a bit. After the food, we had our serious talk. Rimuru, I came because I want to make a treaty. I don't want the Western Holy Church to view Avalon as a threat. Yes, a treaty. I'm asking for the Holy Church to ignore me and my people in Avalon. In return, I will assist them should they ask for my help. Hinata stops eating for a moment to answer my conditions. Hinata, the luminous faith has its influence spread throughout the entire Western nations. I don't see much appeal in simply being able to ask a few favors from you in return for the Church's sanction. You should know that agreeing to this treaty will go against some of our core teachings. Indeed, the Church has been spouting anti-monster beliefs for at least a decade. It was during this decade that their influence soared to unforeseen heights. If Hinata agrees, this treaty will eventually come to light one day, and that would cause some unrest within their believers. Well, they solved it in canon, I don't see why they can't solve it again. It's not my problem. Rimuru, without Veldora, the Eastern Empire is growing restless and is seeking to dominate the West. I can guarantee that they will move through Avalon. Of course, I won't let that happen under any circumstances, and you should be well aware that the little fight we had last night was barely considered a warm-up. Hinata, so you were saying that you will prevent the Eastern Empire from invading the Western countries? I just nod my head without breaking eye contact. Hinata's violet eyes meet my golden pupils, and after several seconds, she closes her eyes and sighs. Hinata, very well. I will inform the Pope. You don't need to worry, I will convince him. She stands up while promising such. Rimuru, I know you will. I also stand up and open a portal to reality. Mikoto, Ranga, and Ilya are just lazily sitting to the side, struggling not to fall asleep again. Hinata walks through the portal and I begin to close it behind her. Just as the portal disappears, my voice enters Hinata's ears. Rimuru, send Luminous Valentine my regards. Luminous Valentine, the true ruler of Ruberius and the god of worship for the luminous faith. Even the Pope is but a mere subordinate. And she's a demon lord. Hinata is also aware of this truth. In fact, I don't think she was going to talk with just the Pope, she was probably going to meet with Luminous herself. Even so, this truth is a tightly guarded one. She snaps her head around, her eyes filled with shock and caution only to see my smile before the portal closes. I sit in the fragmenting landscape of the mirror dimension, thinking about something deeply. Rimuru, now, I acted all mysterious and stuff, but if I leave now and come face to face with Hinata again, that would just be awkward as hell. What do I do? Such were the concerns if a socially awkward, cringe slightly Chiyuni slime. Ranga, where shall we go now, master? Rimuru East. Now that I'm finished with setting everything up, it's finally time to meet with Shizue's students in Ingracia. Originally, to reach Ingracia from Avalon, you have to head west, but Rubrios is actually on the other side of Ingracia. So from Rubrios to Ingracia, you have to head east. As an aside, geography is one of my weaknesses, so I'll leave it to Ilya to guide Ranga on the exact path to take. Thankfully, it takes only about as long to reach Ingracia as it takes to reach Bloomond from Avalon. Because of this, I decided we won't just portal there much to Ranga's gratefulness. And so, a time skip ensues. Kinga Krimyazon. Time proceeds to fucking die. Rimuru Ingracia. Mikoto, eh? Already. Rimuru what? You thought I would drag things out more? Haha. There's only so long I can procrastinate things. Well, I guess I can maybe procrastinate things a bit longer by taking the waiting line at the front gates. Rimuru Ranga, sorry but. Ranga, do not worry, master. I enjoy staying in your shadow. Ranga easily sinks into my shadow without any fuss, and Ilya, Mikoto, and I casually join the end of the waiting line. As much as I would like it if Ranga were to accompany us physically, not many people would take too kindly to a wolf casually strolling through the city. Yes, runes are a thing and I could just use them to hide him, but in all honesty, I just want him to rest. He's been running a lot all over the continent, and although I've cut down his travel time a lot by using portals a few times, the fatigue is still there. He's barely had time to stop and rest. Physically, he's okay. He's very strong after all, and his recovery is very fast. He can run for years non-stop if he has food, water, and a few hours of rest every night. Mentally, not so much. Therefore, he's in my shadow. Ilya, we're not just phasing through the wall again? I raise my hand and drop it on her head. Rimuru, nah, not this time. Ilya slowly closes her eyes as she savors my head pats. I can see Mikoto getting a bit jealous, but we both know she won't ask me anything, nor will she let me do anything while we're in public. She's shy like that. Instead, we just stay close together, enjoying each other's company. The line slowly moves forward into the gates embedded in the thick wall. Getting closer, it looks more like a ticket gate you would see at amusement parks. Evidently, this way is more efficient compared to Bloomond's gate. All kinds of random mobs are in the line, from what looks like common villagers to merchants with their carriages. As for adventurers, they seem to make up the majority of those in line. Well, I guess it makes sense. It's nearing sundown and they wouldn't want to be outside after dark. Pussies. I'm joking. Anyway, the line continues to move forward. Our position in the line moves up as more and more people join behind us. We ended up getting pretty close to the entrance. Of course, some trouble just has to occur. Hey! You! Give me your position in line. A generic thug walks up to us and demanded we give him our position in line. As for his looks, he's, well, generic. He's the scrawny kind, wearing brown clothes, and has a rat-like face. Rimuru, huh? No way. Obviously, I denied him. He's so generic I didn't even use my "I refuse" reference. Whatcha say you say, you bastard? Do you think that was a request? Move, punk. And of course, he just has to insist in the generic thug way. It was at this moment his eyes begin to change. If at first, they were showing confidence, now they were showing greed and a hint of lust as he finally notices our appearance. Fuck. Hey, your clothes look nice, maybe if you hand them over I'll forgive ya. Forgive me for what? I said no to you, and that's some kind of sin? And what are you gonna do with these clothes anyway? Sell them? We're obviously smaller than you. But I do agree, Shina did a fantastic job on these clothes. Well, my clothes were made through my skill and are something on the level of national treasures in terms of defensive capabilities, but this was originally designed after clothing Shina made in the original series. Not only that, Mikoto's and Ilya's clothes are also very high quality using threads made through my universal thread skill. Rimuru, you're bothersome. Leave. I stop patting Ilya and start using a bit of Lord's Ambition as a warning, telling him to fuck off. Just 'cause you got a pretty face, you think you can tell boss me around? Pretty face? He must think I'm female. God damn it, not again. Although my clothes make me look a bit more manly, my looks are based on Shizue, who was originally female. With this combination, I don't look either male or female. A true neutral in the looks department, you could say. Although if I used my male form, I guarantee all the women in a 5-mile radius will hunt my ass down. Vice versa, if I went female. That's just how potent my looks are, since Shizue was a 10 out of 10 even in this world of supernatural beauties like Cheyenne, Shuna, Meline, Hinata, etc. In any case, what should I do with this guy? He's getting on my nerves. And it seems he doesn't even feel the aura I'm emanating. How can this guy be so fucking dense? Even the random villagers in the line are shuffling away from me. Where's your danger sense? Should I kick his nuts? Ilya. You. I hear a soft voice coming from beside me. I look down to find a menacing Loli staring at the thug like he just kicked her dog. Ah. Wada ya want ya shitty brat dash. Ilya, you're interrupting Oniai-chan's head pats. She steps forward, cracking the ground slightly, kicking forward with her other foot. Crack. It hits home, right in between the legs. The thug's face goes white like paint before falling onto the ground unconscious. That's my Amuto. I start head-patting her again, this time with even more ferocity, much to her delight. Ranga, as expected of the young miss. Ranga's voice enters our minds from my shadow. Meanwhile, Mikoto is standing to the side, wondering what the fuck just happened. The line continues moving forward at a slow pace. It seems the scene with the thug is a normal occurrence as no one gave a fuck. Don't get me wrong, there were plenty of guards around and they were willing to step in, but after I released my aura through Lord's ambition, they realized that the one they should be helping is not us. And they don't want to help the aggressor, so they just didn't do anything. I was also thinking that a random hot guy with a hero complex would come flying out of nowhere and say something like "stop bothering those girls," alongside his dark elf lowly slave that he saved not that long ago and a red-haired swordsman. Thank God that didn't happen. I don't want to deal with that shit. Anyway, the line continued moving and currently, the guy in front of us just got admitted and it's our turn now. Using universal sense to peek in on how the whole identification process goes, I have just one thing to say. It takes so fucking long. Each one takes just under half an hour to process. Yeah, nope. Plus, we don't exactly have any identity on us, besides our guild cards, and Ilya doesn't even have one. Hi. Can I please see any form of identity you have? I wave my hand in front of the receptionist's face and keep walking through. Rimuru, these are not the droids you're looking for. The receptionist's eyes dull slightly as me and my companions keep walking through like nobody's business. Meanwhile, the rune written on my palm fades as I snicker to myself. Right, now we have to go to the Free Guild HQ to meet Yuki. But first... Harg, give me all your money. We have to deal with this wild cannon fodder that appeared out of nowhere. God, I don't want to deal with one of these people right now. Mikoto, hey, Rimuru. Doesn't this guy seem kind of familiar? Mikoto leans towards me and whispers into my ear. I look at the guy's face, but... Nope. To explain what he looks like, he's the scrawny kind, wearing brown clothes and has a rat-like face. It's a really generic face that only a mother could love, but easily forgettable too. He's also holding a rusty blunt knife. Ilya Oniai-chan, I kicked this guy's nuts at the gate before. Oh, now I remember. This was the guy that just messed with us. Wait, how did he get inside then? And why does he not seem to remember us? Did Ilya kick him so hard he lost his memories? Well, I guess I'll just ask him. Rimuru. Hey, do we know you? Huh? Never seen ya in my life. Guess it's not that. Rimuru, Do you have a brother? Yeah, I got a twin. He's out adventuring right now, he should be coming back soon. Yeah, I don't think so. At least that explains it, they're two different people. Sigh. Well, I don't want to face-slap anyone right now, I'm satisfied with Ilya's performance. I guess I'll just use talk no jutsu. Rimuru, hey, what's your name? Gob. What a dumb fucking name. Rimuru, what's your brother's name? Gob Bob. Generic, just like his face. Or rather. Rimuru. Bob's the favorite child, isn't he? I mean, why else would his parents name him Gob? Gob. Rimuru. I'm right, aren't I? Gob, shut up. And stop distracting me. Give me your money, or else ya gon get stabbed. His accent turns a weird direction at the end, but it seems talk no jutsu has failed. Spark. Mikoto starts charging up her lightning, getting ready to shock his ass, but I just place my hand on her shoulder. Rimuru, I got this. I whisper to her. Mikoto's lightning dies down as I walk forwards towards Mr. Bog or something, I forgot his name. Rimuru, listen, we don't have any money. But I do have something else. After saying that, I take out a slip of paper and hold it out to him. He snatches it out of my hands, reading it with squinted eyes. Wait, can he read? Gob, what's this say? Nope, he can't. Aramuru, it's a coupon for the biggest brothel in the city. Gob, what? Really? Screw this, I'm gonna get myself a woman. And so he runs off into the alleys. Mikoto. What did you do? Rimuru, what? Ilya, you gave him something, and he ran off, with a disgusting smile on his face. Normally you would beat him up at least. Rimuru, what, do I really seem like the guy who solves all my problems like that? Mikoto _ Ilya _ Ranga, you do most of the time, master. And I respect you for it. Cough. Rimuru, well, I gave him a white piece of paper that just says 99% off your next purchase at a brothel. That's it. Mikoto, isn't that obviously fake? I just shrug. Rimuru, some people have no hope in the mental department. He was one of them. I mean, to anyone else, a white slip of paper with those words on it would seem like an obvious scam. Not only that. Rimuru, I also made it expire yesterday. I turn around and keep walking to the Free Guild HQ I can see in the distance. The burning feeling from the stairs on my back intensifies, but I've long learned to ignore such a feeling. And so, we have reached our destination. Now to talk with the psychopath and try not to make it seem like I know he's a suspicious fellow. Hang on, can't I just kill him? Won't that just solve everything? The royal capital of Ingracia. It's quite an enchanting city. Many things you can find here are quite novel and new. The buildings, the products, even the people. They're all different compared to the rest of the world. This is the general thought process of this world's residents. In reality, this place looks just like any modern city you would find on Earth. It's quite a normal sight to most of the otherworlders. Of course, many of them would still choose to stay here due to the nostalgia this place brings. It's totally different from the perfect mixture of modern and fantasy that Avalon embodies. Raphael really did a good job designing those buildings. May you rest in peace. In any case, my companions and I are walking down a very large street towards the Free Guild HQ we can see in the distance. It's quite a large building and easily noticeable due to being entirely covered with glass panes, which are unique in this world since glasswork hasn't advanced enough to make giant panes of glass like that. Not easily, at least. And definitely not for cheap. Not only that, glass is quite fragile, so whoever decided to make the Free Guild HQ of all buildings like that is a fucking idiot. Moving on. Rimuru, hey, I'm gonna go talk with Yuki Kagurazaka. It's gonna take a while, why don't you all look around the city in the meantime? I know Mikoto doesn't like sitting through important meetings. Hell, I don't like sitting through them either. By proxy, neither does Ilya. But someone has to, and I would rather not put those two girls through this. Mikoto, are you sure? Isn't Yuki, you know, off his rocks? Rimuru, yes. But what can I do? I need to become a teacher to meet with Shizue's students, and I can't just kidnap them and run back to Avalon with them. No, hold on. Mikoto, don't kidnap them. Well, there goes that plan. I raise my hand and drop it on Mikoto's head while flashing a confident smile. Rimuru, don't worry, you of all people should know that even if a dragon were to attack, I can handle myself just fine. Regardless of how I made him out to be, Yuki isn't that strong. At this point in time, at least. As of right now, if my memories are correct, Yuki shouldn't even be aware of what an ultimate skill is, let alone have one or know how to counteract one. So unless I just stand there and take down all my defenses, Yuki has no hope of winning against me. His anti-skill might be a problem, but nothing I can't handle. Although he will grow stronger at an insane pace and will eventually become a threat. That will only happen if I let him. Rimuru, besides, I have something planned for him. I say with a smug smile. Mikoto stares into my golden eyes, while I stare back into her tea-colored eyes, my hand still slowly stroking her soft hair. Mikoto *I* if you say so. After hearing my confidence, she gives up on following me and steps back. As for Ilya, Oni-chan. There are candied apples. Ilya jumps up and down as she points to a stall selling candy apples with an excited smile on her face. She was never once worried about me. It's because she has that much confidence in me, right? Right. Cough. Rimuru Ranga, follow them. Ranga understood. My shadow ripples a bit before it stills and Mikoto's shadow, which my shadow is touching, ripples. Ranga moved from my shadow to Mikoto's. Mikoto just looks at her shadow before looking up at me with a wry smile. Mikoto, you know that I also don't need protection. Rimuru, oh no, this isn't for you. He's there to stop you from killing anyone. Mikoto, huh? I won't kill anyone. Rimuru, that guy from the gate? Mikoto, I wouldn't have killed him. I would shock him, just a little. Yeah, shock him into a fucking coma, why don't you? I stare at Mikoto with a expression. Rimuru, right. Well, I'm going now. I turn around and walk into the Free Guild HQ. Mikoto waves at me before she joins Ilya and heads to the candy apple stand. The doors, which are made of glass, slide open automatically as I casually walk in. I would assume that normally people would be awed at such a sight, but, meh. When you can tunnel through fucking space, normal doors all seem a bit lackluster. Inside, it's very clean and well designed. There aren't many people here and it's just this big room with a long reception desk at the end. No quest board or anything. Well, this is HQ after all. Only B-rank adventurers and above are allowed through those doors. How did I know? It's because I saw the runes hidden on the door that only open when a certain rune pattern is sensed. That said pattern is on my B-rank adventurer ID card. I can sense the same rune pattern on every other ID card in this building. I guess that's why they have two guilds here in Ingracia's royal capital. One of them is a normal guild and the other one is HQ. I walk up to one of the receptionists. Thankfully, it's a beautiful receptionist, Wani-san. Hello, how may I help you? She says with a practiced smile. Rimuru, I would like to meet with Grandmaster Yuki Kagurazaka, please. Do you have an appointment? Rimuru, no, but I do have a letter for him with me. I take out the letter of introduction Fuse gave me back in Blumen's guild. I hand it over to the receptionist. She takes it with both hands and looks at it curiously as she walks through a door behind the counter, probably to contact Yuki about this. She later comes out again with the letter in hand, showing that exact same smile and handing the letter over to me. We have verified the letter to be authentic. The Grandmaster has agreed to meet you, please follow me. She leads me over to the side of the room where you can see what I assume to be some kind of magical elevator. I walk in with the receptionist and the whole thing explodes. Wait, no it didn't. The ground lights up and more runes reveal themselves. And then the whole thing explodes. No, it didn't. A quick glance at the runes let me know that this isn't actually a proper elevator, but more like a teleportation room. What these runes do is teleport the occupants into another place. It only works vertically though, since they kind of fucked it by placing a shit ton of stabilization runes to make it so whenever someone uses it, they don't puke. An absolute abomination if I had anything to say about it. Completely inefficient, and I suspect they were only able to discover the sequence of runes that don't explode on use with pure luck. These runes make me want to commit a hate crime. I don't want to look at such a sight anymore. In any case, we teleport and I find myself on one of the top floors of the building. The receptionist walks out of the elevator and I follow. They lead me to what seems to be some kind of waiting room. The Grandmaster will meet you here shortly. Have a nice day. The receptionist bows and walks back where we came from and I just wait for my guest. Insert 12 minutes later, SpongeBob meme. I am standing with my arms behind my back, staring intensely at the wall. It's a marvelous wall. It's so, wall-like. Beautiful. Creak. Yuki, hello there. Rimuru, General Kenobi. I turn around and say. Yuki. Rimuru. Yuki. What? What a fucking heathen. Rimuru, fuck this. Snap. I snap my fingers and a rune reveals itself above Yuki. I placed it there beforehand. It's kind of easy to set a trap like this when there are only two entrances, one of them being the elevator I came through. The rune falls down on Yuki's head. His bright eyes dull. I walk forward and place my hand on his chest. Like a puppet without strings, his body slumps onto the floor. Dead. Name, Rimuru. Race, Origin Slime. Protection, Crest of Space. Title, Highest tier spirit, leader of the monsters, Oniai-chan, king of Avalon, master of headpats, procrastinator king, the nutcracker. Manus, Iliasville. Ultimate skills, Beelzebub, lord of gluttony, Ahura Mazda, lord of creation, Scathach, lord of runes. Unique skills, spatial ruler. Intrinsic skills, infinite regeneration, universal shapeshift, universal sense, enhanced replication, universal thread. Extra skills, Lord's ambition, thought communication, control natural elements, control magic, control gravity. Resistances, cancel pain, resist melee attack, cancel natural elements, cancel ailments, cancel spiritual attack, resist holy/demonic attack. Equipment, Yamato, Raphael, skill orb, limiter ring. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips, Yami Tancho, Harold Martinsons, Kenny Nielsen. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.